Well, it's that time again. It is 11 o'clock a.m. Friday morning. It's episode 998 of the Hotel Orloff. We're here in the beautiful Hotel Orloff here in Ocean Park, California. And we are having lots of fun. We just got some AOK packages. So let's see. Let's see what we got here, man. Here's Drew waiting patiently.
Guardians of Peace and the free world's first line of defense. And with much pleasure, we introduce our famous.
Okay, so with no further ado, let's take a look. I often talk about a childhood comic that I should move that ladder. Hold on a second. Alex Jones just came on. So we got to turn that on. So, how do you watch him live since he's been banned from YouTube? Well, you have to go to the Rumble app on. See, there's the Rumble app right there. You click Rumble on your Roku, and then it's very simple. You just go down to live, and he's always live. There's Steve Bannon's War Room. They're about to put him in prison, and then we go to InfoWars and click on that, and then so that's what we'll watch. Okay, so often on my show I've talked about in I guess it was about June of 1972. We'd lived in Germany in Lahnstuhl and then in Heidelberg for 3 years. I guess we moved there in 1969 when I was 4 years old, and then we were coming back, and I'm getting ready to start second grade, right? Well, so we already moved out of the base. We were in Heidelberg in what is kind of like an apartment complex there on the base, and which I later found out is where German officers were quartered during World War II. Apparently the base was just a German base that we took over. I didn't realize that until I was told that years later. Anyway, so we moved out, got everything packed. It's already being sent off back to the States, and we're staying in, I don't know, officers' quarters or something. And so I had like a quarter, and I walked to this magazine stand there next to the PX, and I bought a comic. It was the first time I bought a comic on my own. It wasn't bought for me by my mother, or I handed it to my mother and she bought it. I actually felt very adult. I walked up to the counter, handed her my money, and got the comic, and then I walked back. It was all very adult seeming. So the comic I got was a DC comic. It was Laurel and Hardy, based on the animated Saturday morning cartoon that had been on the air. And so anyway, somehow that comic disappeared. I suspect that during the time that I lived in San Antonio, that there was a friend that may have stolen a few comics. The first DC Tarzan, this Laurel and Hardy comic. I think maybe there was I had the Batman Detective Comics with the first, with the technical return of Two-Face, Neil Adams. I think those all disappeared. I've since replaced the Two-Face comic. But this Laurel and Hardy, I just talk about it all the time on my show, and so one of the regular viewers, Last Resort Comics, has a online comic book store. He used to have a physical store, from what I understand, and so I mentioned, hey, do you have a copy of this Laurel and Hardy comic? Because I thought maybe I could get it, buy it from him. And he says, oh, and he thought, yeah, I've got one. It's in pretty good condition, and I'll just send it to you for all the joy. I don't know what he didn't say, joy, for all the enjoyment that your show has given me. So some people actually enjoy this show. Some people aren't just horribly offended by it, I've realized. So, man, I got a call having trouble. Everyone around me's had their roof replaced after that horrible hailstorm, and they're still waiting on USAA to give the clearance, so I need to call them, and looks like it's almost worked out. So anyway, it says, greetings, Gratu. I've enclosed the Larry Harmon's Laurel and Hardy you've been looking for, and some other things you might find interesting. I enjoy your show very much. I always put it on when I'm working on comics. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Scott Williams, Last Frontier Comics. Look, proof that someone actually likes my show. Incredible. It's astonishing, isn't it? And then, so here it is. Man, this is incredible. Look at this, man. Can you believe it? It's been over 50 years since I held this book in my hand. It's not the actual copy, but let's just pretend it's my childhood copy, What can we say? So we're going to open this up. It's not I don't know. It's something that's important to me because it was, if I had the actual copy, that that would be something, but I don't know, man. Comics don't just disappear from a collection. Entire collections can be thrown away by a mother, but my mother wouldn't come in and just throw away a Laurel and Hardy comic. Oh, that looks inappropriate for my child. She didn't do that. She never threw away stuff. So that leaves it to a mysterious person that could have taken it in third grade that visited my house. Because he was caught once taking spoof number 5, and our dads had to get involved with that. Because we would trade comics, and I guess sometimes he figured, well, I'll just trade comics without getting one back. Having to give one, I'll just take. I think that's what I don't know. I didn't throw comics away. My mom didn't do it, and they don't just spontaneously combust, And there was no paranormal poltergeist activity in that house on Portrait Court in San Antonio, so I don't think any ghosts snatched it. But anyway, this is probably in better condition than a comic book that I bought when I was just graduating from first grade would have come to me in. It's in. This is perfectly great. What I've been wanting for years. This is right when comics went to 20 cents. Comics had been 15 cents, and then they knew they were going to have to go up to 20 cents, and DC and Marvel both decided they would go up to 25 cents and give you extra pages. But Marvel was, I guess, a little deceptive. They only did it for like a month or two. And DC was more committed. They kept going for, I don't know, what was it, maybe 6 months? I don't know. And then they realized, oh shoot, Marvel went down to 20 cents, smaller page count, and then they had to follow suit. This may be when they first went to 20 cents from 25 cents, this may be the first month they went to 20 cents. See, now only 20 cents. They had this big explanation that it's okay, you're paying an extra. They're the best in comics, and they're all new stories. Because when they went to 25 cents, they'd have a new story in a lot of those expanded 52-page comics, and they'd also have a reprint in the back, which I thought was great because you were getting something from the golden age, but maybe some kids didn't like having old stuff, you know. Anyway, yeah, it's this is a kind of a somewhat pricey comic. There's a demand for it, and this is very interesting because this is very non-DC like art. This is not what you would normally expect from DC. It, I mean, DC had their Bob Hope comics and their Jerry Lewis comics that had a distinctive look, but those comedians were still around. Both Laurel and Hardy had passed away, and this is based on a Saturday morning cartoon. And the art is really pretty spectacular and very unusual for the time and for, DC. Anyway, I'll look at this more later. Thank you very much. Last Resort Comics. You can look his store up on eBay. I need to do that myself because I need to patronize him. So, thank you, Scott, at Last Resort Comics for that. But this all came in a rather large box, so it's not just Laurel and Hardy. And then there's a little note that says, "Bag of random beat-up Golden Age. They're pretty much worthless, but you might find fun to look at." And then there's some other stuff. There's all kinds of little goodies in here. I already kind of opened the box, but I haven't. Okay, there's a bag of Golden Age, and then there's also this. Let's take a look. Yeah, he sent a bunch of goodies. Like The Executioner, Friday's Feast, Don Pendleton. These paperbacks were everywhere in the 70s. The Executioner and the Destroyer and the Butcher. And they were very much descendants of the pulps. See, this is the Executioner 37. If you went back 30, 40 years, this would have been a pulp magazine. And this would have been issue 37 of them. You know, the pulp magazines were as thick as a paperback. And these series of adventures like this kind of came back in the 60s. There were, the James Bond novels were turned into movies starting in the early 60s and were hugely popular through the 60s. So people got used to reading a series of novels about an action hero. And then the Conan the Barbarian books were reprinted from the old pulp stories. And then there were new bits and new stories added. And they were, I think, as I recall, see, Robert E. Howard wrote the Conan stories like this is a real historical character. And, okay, I'll tell you a story about him when he was a king and he's like 60 years old. And then, in another issue of Weird Tales, here's a story about him when he's 35 and he's a pirate. Next time you might be reading a story about him when he's a teenage thief. And it wasn't told chronologically. it was just incidents in the life, like you talk about George Washington or Davy Crockett. Here's something he did then, and man, when he was a kid, he killed a bear. When he was only 3 years old. So that's how it was done. But I think as I recall, when they did the '60s paperbacks, they tried to put the stories in order, and then other stories were embellished and added to kind of make it flow. But anyway, so you got these pulp heroes coming back, and and Doc Savage was hugely popular through the '60s and '70s, and they reprinted the whole, I think pretty much the whole pulp magazine series in paperback form with those great James Bama covers. And so there was a market for this with this new generation. And actually some of the guys that read the pulps as kids and teenagers were, in the 1970s were like my age and were reading this stuff. And so where am I going with my long pedantic, you already know all this. Well, the character of the Punisher appeared in Spider-Man around 74, 73, it's around 73. And all he is an attempt to be one of these characters. They didn't know he would become this huge thing, I don't think. But anyway, so lots of these, Matt Helm, there's tons of spy series in the '60s, and lots of paperbacks that were series. Oh, and then all the Star Trek books too, were all part of a series. So that's cool. I'll add this to my I don't have anywhere near the whole Executioner series, but I've got some, All right, so that'll be added to that. Look at this cool paperback. David Grinnell, Across Time. Quest in the year 1,000,000. David Grinnell's Across Time is the first novel with the Grinnell byline and rather fun. This is Anthony Boucher from Fantasy and Science Fiction magazine talking. Time-traveling UFOs jerk our hero 1,000,000 years into the future and launch him on a transgalactic venture brightened by such incidental items as an attractive post-homo race of evolved simians and a wonderful ultimate spaceship. And then Inside, I don't know, is that a magazine? Inside calls it Superior. So that looks great. Okay. And there's a few Archie Digest. Jughead with Archie. I don't like this ad because you open it and it looks like there's horrible brown stains on the book, but in reality it's just supposed to be chocolate, pictures of chocolate. But you open a book and you say, oh my God, did someone have explosive diarrhea all over this? No, but it's all great. This is a lot better when you're younger than when, because the print is so incredibly tiny in these digests when you get to be 59 years old. But yes, I won't say so yeah, I'll say but yes, my children, this is a wonderful book, Archie. I'm going to go through all my Archie books again this summer and all my Harvey comics, and I won't get many views because you guys don't like those books, but that's tough. I like them. I've got a lot of Harvey books I've got to file. Here's an Archie Annual Digest magazine. Ooh, nice. I like this 60s style art. Beautiful. That's a beautiful splash page there. Leaving the theater. You don't see it here. That's very, very nice. This is, there's distinctive art styles. I believe this is Harry Lucy. There was Bob Montana that was like the 50s Archie guy. You can kind of spot him because Archie has the gap in his teeth that he always had in the first couple decades of this comic book. Bob Montana is great. And Harry Lucy was great in the 60s. Not an expert, but I think I can identify their styles. And then Dan DiCarlo kind of came in the late 60s and through the 70s. Okay. More stuff. Look, it's an issue of Comic Book Marketplace. For years, I'd go into Lone Star Comics, and I'd look at all the new comics on New Comic Book Day or whatever day I walked in, and it's like, oh, there's nothing interesting coming out now. But I'd always pick up a magazine like this or the Comics Journal, because I like to read about the old books. This is fantastic. I love this stuff. I have boxes and boxes of these magazines. I don't have this issue though. I love this stuff, man. It's like look at this, man. How could you not love this? And there would be one or two. There would be one copy, and I'd buy it, and it was almost like it was there just for me at Lone Star Comics. I gotta save these notes because this really makes me feel good because I do the show. I started the show a couple of months before that ridiculous pandemic, which I think they're going to try to bring back. But I don't know. We'll see. I think people have wised up to that trick. No offense to those of you that love the pandemic and get offended by that. What am I talking about? I have no idea. Why am I talking? Oh, I started right before the pandemic. Then the pandemic happened, and then I started to do more shows, and it's like, well, I'm kind of doing this to keep people sane. And now I found out that that's actually happened, that people actually did enjoy my show and did understand my sense of humor. Okay, so here, now we're going to see the Golden Age books he sent that he said are basically worthless, but that I would enjoy. And yes, of course I would enjoy this. It's a Tarzan comic with a wonderful Schwinn ad on the back. Is it in perfect condition? No, but what do? You don't throw something like this away that's 70 years old. You just try to treat it as gingerly as you can, and it's all there for you to read. You just don't want to make it any worse. Oh man, this is just fantastic. Okay, it's Christmas, second day of summer, and we're having Christmas here. It's Picture Progress, the discoveries of Louis Pasteur. Man, they should do one about that amazing scientist, Dr. Anthony Fauci, Mr. Science. I don't want Drew to hear this, but he tortured beagles and did scientific experiments on them. And tons of beagles. Beagles are the coolest. They're better than human beings, man. It's unbelievable that he did that. Oh, look at this Louis Pasteur having a humorous moment. Look at that, man. Incredible. Louis Pasteur. Here's another copy of Picture Progress. Oh, it's a circus issue. That's cool.
Where there's just a lot of things that are falling through the cracks to make sure that our drivers that are on the roads are safe.
Miller's family tells us he was a truck driver who always urged safety on the road.
I was going to ask Meyer Greenblatt, except I'm not on a live show and he's not. Well, he'll watch this at some point in the future. I was going to ask him, is this Jesse Marsh art? I don't know. It looks a little Jesse Marshish. He's more of an expert on that kind of thing. A little bit of staining, just a little bit of urine, that's okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. Look at that clown. Look at that, man. It's like a Rothschild. Oh my gosh. No, I don't think this is Jesse Marsh. But it's wonderful artwork. Picture progress. Why, look, it's a Classics Illustrated, Wild Bill Hickok. This will be fun to read. Just what the average reader of Classics Illustrated wants are tattoos of comic book characters. Imagine if they never came off. Yeah, there's all your favorites. There's Blondie, there's Olive Oil, Dagwood, Sherlock Holmes. Ooh, some little varmint chewed right through that. But it doesn't affect the art, and it presents well. Oh, what is this? Sounds like someone's knocking on the door. They're replacing the roof of the house next door. Yeah, the same little varmints chewed through this. Little bit of shit.
And again, Republican leadership.
Great funny animal stuff.
Let's not forgive them for allowing this to happen.
Okay.
But
Jungle War Stories. The attack begins.
They're the ones bathing in the blood of the innocent. Republicans are just kind of there and letting it happen.
It's a daisy.
Got some blood on their hands and maybe a little bit on their clothes. But the Democrats are just, they're just head under blood. So, I don't expect this to happen, but there needs to be I think it's 48 Republicans in the Senate and whatever 100 plus.
Really nice art. Meyer Greenblatt just sent a text. Great show last night. Thank you, Meyer Greenblatt. This is really great artwork in this Dell 12-cent war comic. Oh, what do we got here? It's Roy Rogers' remaindered comic that didn't sell. So that's what they would do. They'd send the top with the title back, and they'd get their money back. Because this was a 10-cent comic. I guess the newsstand dealer had maybe a nickel in it. You know, they paid 5 cents. They sell it for 10 cents. They make a profit. But if the comic doesn't sell, they're out 5 cents. And so they would cut that part off and send it back. Then they'd get their 5 cents back. And unethical news dealers would then sell this for a nickel, and then they'd have 100% profit. They wouldn't have paid for the book, and they would have made a nickel from it. So actually, they would have made. They wouldn't make 10 cents. They'd make a nickel. They basically, that's called stealing, folks. You shouldn't do that. But I think what honest news dealers would do is they just give it to their kids or neighborhood kids. You gave the book away instead of throwing it in the dumpster. Then there's no harm, no foul, right? I'm getting a call from a local number. Oh man, I don't want to end the show just for that. Maybe they got that cat. That kitten. Shoot. It's a beautiful cover. I wish at some point I'd like to get a copy of this with the title. But in the meantime, this is going to be fun to read. It's in really nice shape other than missing the Tarzan title. And then this Mr. Magoo is pretty tattered, but it'll be fun to read. The book itself is okay. Oh, I got a voicemail. I wonder, can I listen to the voicemail without ending the show? Is that possible? I don't know. I don't think I can't. No, I can't do that. I can't do it, ladies and
And what
gentlemen.
about those that facilitate that?
Okay, so let me get.
If you delivered
Oh,
a
there's
ton
one
of
more
drugs
thing he sent.
to
I
a
didn't
rapist
show
and a
you.
murderer, wouldn't you
And this is
be
a
hauled into a courtroom or
British
even a jail cell as well?
edition of the
You could be facing
Fantastic
charges for
Four
aiding and abetting in that crime.
from
How about the
1978.
individuals
This
responsible
reprints
for bringing these criminals into this country? How
a
could they
comic
be
from the
held
early
accountable?
70s.
Maybe if they did, this whole
I
thing
think
would
this
stop.
story's from around 1972, isn't it? The one with the
Rachel Morin, another woman
50s
killed by
juvenile
a
delinquent.
crosser in the last
One.
month.
Interesting.
Her mom
Yeah, they would reprint this stuff.
for calling slain daughter an individual. Says Biden administration hasn't even reached out. Trump actually did call the family. And
They reprinted it in black and white.
condolences. So Trump's paying attention.
And
Trump
it looks like
called and wished them his best. Nothing from the Biden administration, though. They're not interested. They could care less.
it's pretty cool.
Mother of five.
Ad for a magazine. Apparently, Marvel had a comic called Rampage that has.
And the numbers just continue to get out of
I wonder if it has Defenders in it. Yeah. Rampage has the dynamic Defenders with the greatest non-team of all in a frantic full-length epic. It also reprints Nova. And oh, interesting. And then they have early 60s Fantastic Four stuff. This is all Fantastic Four in here. And then it looks like they have part 2 reprinted from this Fantastic Four number 2. So you get to see this early Silver Age art in black and white, which you normally don't see. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen like Fantastic Four number 2 reprinted in black and white. That really is actually kind of glorious. Okay, so I put this stuff to be safe on top of the pinball machine, and then I complain about the pinball machines being covered with stuff, but I'm trying to keep the dog from chewing on the books. And man. It's a disadvantage of recording on a phone is then you get a phone call and you don't know who's calling you, and it's really annoying. But I don't need to do a super long show today. I have to open one more box because that isn't the only box I got today. So but if I don't make a show that's a certain length, I don't get many views. I found the total opposite of what the conventional wisdom is, that you're not supposed to do a video more than 17 minutes long because people have low attention spans. But whenever I do a short video, hardly anyone watches. And if I do a video that's less than an hour, I just get an abysmal amount of views. People that tune into this station seem to want shows that are at least an hour. But I don't think I'm going to give you that today. That's the way it goes. Okay, this next box is from Vinegar Syndrome. I know what's in this box.
All right, folks. Nitrogen Boost is back in stock at stores.com.
I was, Dark Ride Dracula is an amazing YouTube channel run by a couple that goes around and finds monster toys at conventions, thrift stores, flea markets mainly, and they tour dark rides. Rides where you get in a little buggy and you go through. They have them at just about every carnival. You go through a haunted house, things pop out at you. And sometimes dark rides are actually floating kind of through tunnels. They used to call those Tunnel of Loves because it's dark and you get the kiss your girlfriend while you're going through it. So they tour those and film them too. Anyway, they've got a great channel. Anyway, so it's a couple that runs it, and she was showing this Blu-ray she had. She said it's the best disc of the year. It's like, I didn't know that existed, so I looked it up and found it. But I saw that it was selling for $90 or over $100 on eBay, and I went, oh shoot! But it apparently came out originally with a slipcase, and if you get the slipcase, then it's astronomically expensive. But if you don't get it with a slipcase, you can get it for like $25. So, first of all, it's nicely packed. I get a lot of, and here it is. Except I think she was showing the 4K version. This is not 4K, because I don't have a 4K machine. But this is what it is. It's a Blu-ray. Hey folks, it's the intermission time video party. If you've been into this for a while, monster stuff and the stuff that I enjoy, promotional advertisements, movie posters, movie trailers, then you know this series from the 90s when Something Weird, Mike Vraney's company, started putting out all the exploitation movies and stuff on VHS. In the 90s, it was quite a wonderful time. It was just a flood of all these movies you never thought you'd ever be able to see. And what was really exciting was he put out all these VHS tapes. It was just nothing but the little films that would run in between a double feature at a drive-in or in a regular movie theater. All the little ads with dancing popcorn and hot dogs telling you to go to the concession stand or the lobby. I love that stuff, and he put out multiple volumes on VHS, and this is all from his original masters that he had back then, because he actually had all those films and that he transferred. So that was a glorious time in the 90s. This is the kind of stuff I was buying in the 90s instead of Rob Liefeld stuff. I was, now that I realize that that's what I was doing, I was far more into other aspects of culture. Okay, I have trouble opening things. Sorry, I don't like opening things with X-Acto blades because bad things happen. I'm a klutz. I slammed my fingers in with a steel door yesterday. That was a glorious experience. Okay, so this is a 2-disc set. Let's see what it says here. But anyway, this is currently available. You can get this. Go to Vinegar Syndrome. Man, but I can't read this. In the 1990s, something... Man. It's hard to see. In the 1990s, Something Weird video... I gotta get under the light. Hey, what happened? Oh, I stepped on the remote control and kicked Alex Jones off. See, I told you I'm a klutz. Okay. Let me get under the light so I can read this tape. Oh, this light over here is brighter. Okay. So, in the 1990s, Something Weird video gifted humankind with Hey Folks, It's Intermission Time, a series of 6 magical VHS compilations that preserved vintage movie and drive-in ads. Hey Folks, It's the Intermission Time video party is a loving tribute to those cathode tube-fueled days, featuring Hey Folks, It's the Intermission Time mixtape, an exclusive feature-length mixtape from the AGFA team. I forget what does that stand for? I forget. Oh well. As well as all 6 volumes of the original uncut Something Weird VHS releases from the 1990s, this 2-disc collection serves as a mind-altering time machine to a beloved era in home video history. Transferred from the original Something Weird Super VHS masters, they have commentary. Okay, so there's 6 volumes. So that's basically 12 hours of drive-in intermission stuff, and then they've done some special mix. Let's put it on and see what it looks like. Hold on. Oh wait, that's not a Blu-ray player. What am I trying to do? Oh well, I gotta redo the connections because I was about to put it in my DVD player. All right, we're not gonna look at it right now. Oh well, that's the way it goes.
Alright, so this is MSNBC playing some of the tape. Honestly, it's hilarious to me. Nicole Wallace, what an absolute hack. That
Okay.
just cracks me up. And here's some of the
Okay. So
24 election result.
that's a little. So why is it that this giant box, heavy box, showed up? This giant box, for that little, because of this. Dang, man, it's like a family Bible. This is the other set that I was trying to tell my wife, no, I don't need this right now. And she said, no, they only have 6 left. She really encouraged me. So I said, well, don't get mad at me later, because, Okay, so, yeah, this is something I've heard about and have been very interested in. Oh, wow. It's a giant book, The Exotic Ones by Jimmy McDonough. It's a giant heavy book, like those omnibuses, omnibi. I think the plural of omnibus is omnibus. Apparently, that's what I've been told. Oh, but these are it's so big and cumbersome, you don't want to drop it. Okay, so it's got a piece of paper around it. It's just like, oh man. And then you got to figure, where do I store this giant book? It's okay. How does this open? Oh my gosh! Look how dignified it looks. It looks like something from a law library. That's actually hilarious. When you really know what this is, it's hilarious. And I don't know. Some of you that know what this is are laughing, and the rest of you are mystified. Okay. Okay, so you open the book, and that's June, and that's Ron Ormond, I guess. It's got gold leaf. Oh my gosh! If you know who these filmmakers are, but this has a disc. Where are the discs? Is that separate?
Dismiss the case. By the
How
way,
does
I
this
turned
work?
out to be wrong about that. I said that in March. More recently, a judge came into, I quite honestly do not know.
Okay, where's the
I mean, we
discs?
both live in the state of Florida, but that's about it. Did actually rejected the motion to dismiss it. So I turned out to be wrong about that. I expressed what is known as an opinion based on reading a lot of legal documents. The best story on
When this came out, it was 100.
the Democrats' undercover.
What do you call it? Stupid pounds in England. This came out in England.
All of these outlets, it is a giant.
This book is supposed to come with a set of Blu-rays of the whole
I think it may be. I mean, there were
of all their movies. They were filmmakers.
Way back last year at a conference that I spoke at, Turning Point USA in Palm Beach. I think they approached me there, and then this woman approached me at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, they made
she was a pain in the ass.
Exploitation movies and religious movies and movies to play in southern drive-ins, but I'm completely confused about this set. So, where are the movies? Did we only get the book?
Particularly with mail-in ballots. The reference to judges is very, very clear. I remember on election night 2020 when the Democrat officials in Michigan closed down the voting center in Detroit, had the Republican observers physically removed by the Detroit police, and then...
Oh, it's a little sticker of a film. I guess a film. Okay, come on. Where are the discs? This is apparently just a book. Not that the book is, I'm not complaining, it's a great book, but I thought it was a set, a book, and
merits of your motion. Nothing illicit about this, but this woman, Joyce Vance, who's kind of the female version of Andrew Weissman, she says, according to New Republic, Stone is Trump totally controls Judge Cannon. No, he never said anything even remotely of the kind. So it's the same garbage we have seen. But Jones is right. It's desperation you smell, folks. They are desperate.
okay, I gotta figure this out. Anyway, I gotta return this phone call and see what the heck. I think the reason it was cheaper is that we just got the book and not the Blu-ray set. I'll look into that. Anyway, I will see you guys soon. Take care.